party's an area so quiet and serene. More good than would the word mean. Togetherness was practiced both day and night. Kaimu is a beautiful sight. It's breakfast with
Macho Man, you are the man. We are brought to you by ES Sports Nutrition, Hoka One One, our buddies at Polar, Oscar Wellness, Velo Fix, Four Seasons Hualalai, where we'll be hosting our World Championship edition on Sunday, and we are airing on triathlonworld.com. My next guest, the first wheelchair athlete to finish the Ironman Triathlon World Championship, Mr. John Maclean. Buddy, how the heck are you?
Great, Bob. Thanks for having us back. It's always great to be in this beautiful part of the world.
I love that. And what I always like is when athletes, a lot of times people, they do the Ironman and go, I can go faster. Once you finish this race, then it was like, what's next? Swim the English Channel, go to the Paralympics, win medals there, then you're moving along and got the family going. And talk a little bit about how you ended up meeting Ken Ware and while you were training for kayaking, correct?
That's right. So the Paralympics have just finished, obviously, in Rio. My focus was to give that a crack as the next sport. And I had my shoulder was quite injured, and I caught up with Pete Jacobs, former winner here.
Yes.
Australian guy. And saw him, and he said, listen, I'm going to go and see this guy's doing something a little bit different because I'm currently injured. I said, well, let's catch up when you get back, and we did. He said, you've got to go and see this guy. He's amazing. So I went and saw Ken Ware. I went through his therapy. He then said to me, so what do you want?
Tremor therapy.
Yeah. Neurophysics. He said, so what do you want? And I said, I want to walk, which I've always wanted to do.
Yes.
And I'm fortunate to be an incomplete paraplegic. He said, let's get on with it. So the shift of focus, let go of the Paralympics, and let's focus on trying to walk again.
So when I watch video online and I see you at a press machine in a weight room, and I see your body shaking everywhere, the tremors, and then I see you stand up out of the chair. If I didn't know you, you'd think this is some hokey stuff, right?
Yes.
Did it seem hokey when he first started talking to you about it?
Well, I guess for me, again, being incomplete, so I could stand or hobble a short distance with crutches dragging my legs. So it wasn't just out of the wheelchair straight up to starting to do that. So, and again, being fortunate. So for me, it was this whole piece around letting go, and I guess it's important to kind of a little bit of detail in that. So I'd had conversations either with myself or with doctors or whatever that was in the past that kind of held me back. And Ken's all about letting go of those thoughts and getting back to neutral or center where we are, and then exploring potential. So he said, you're always capable, but you didn't know. And now through this tremor therapy, in terms of letting go and the shaking and the rebooting of the nervous system, I was able to take those steps.
And similar to you finish the Ironman, you go to the English Channel, you get into Paralympics, you get into kayaking. At first, the whole idea was, I want to walk on the beach with my wife, right? I want to be able to drive to school to pick up my little boy and pick him up, walk in and pick him up. And that was wonderful. I bet that walking on the beach with your wife had to be special.
Well, it's interesting because when I first spoke to Ken, it was just, how we have these blue sky dreaming moments, right? So I said to him, it'd be great to walk on the beach with my wife. Yes. So he kind of connected into that. He created an opportunity for that to take place. I fell over many times before I had that opportunity to do that. So we kept on changing things all the time in order for me to be able to take those steps. And we covered 50 metres on the beach. He then said, you wanted to walk on the beach with your wife? Here's the beach. There's your wife. Away you go. So we had that moment. It was very special.
You were first paralyzed training for the Maclean Triathlon back in 1988. And you were hit by a truck and paralyzed. And then all of a sudden, you're in a position where you're thinking, what if I can go back to that race and actually complete what I was hoping to do back in 1988 and do it not in a hand cycle or in a racing chair, but to ride a regular bike and to walk with poles and braces. Take me through that process of getting... It's one thing to walk 50 yards on a beach. It's another thing to do a freaking triathlon.
Exactly. So I guess a couple of things took place here. One was Ken got me to believe that it's possible for me to get out of the wheelchair and to start to take some steps. So then I was approached with this carbon fibre leg brace technology out of the military. Ryan Blunch is the guy who designed that with the Hanger Institute. And I got a chance to get exposed to that in Australia. So now with my leg braces, I was able to get back on a conventional bike
Right.
after 25 years, which is a long time. And then I thought to myself, okay, I can swim. I can now ride a bike. Not very good, but I can.
Yeah.
Is it possible for me now to walk 6 miles, which is a huge step? And I saw an old lady with some walking poles. So I thought, okay, I should get those as well for extra stability.
Sure.
Always looking around for opportunities. And step by step, and it took a long time, but I did manage to cover the distance. My feet were very sore, as you'd imagine, after all those years of
That must
sitting
have
in
been
a
the
wheelchair.
toughest part, because your feet
Yeah.
aren't used to anything.
That's exactly right. So the feet were all cut up, and I think mincemeat was one of the words that was mentioned. But we created something, and it came to fruition. So back to thought, and back to letting go of this, and just being here. One step at a time, we managed to cross the line with my wife and with my son, and the dream came true 26 years later. So it was a very special time.
And at the same time, you get a book contract, and the book, How Bad Do You Want It? And that was your dad's term when you were first injured. It's like, how bad do you want it? And so the book comes out, did a book tour starting in April, and walked the Carlsbad 5000, teamed up with Ricky James and David Bailey to do Ironman 70.3 Oceanside. It must have been sort of cool to re-immerse yourself into the athletic side of things.
Yeah, so I guess getting married with Amanda and having our son Jack, life is kind of good, right? So
Yeah.
getting a chance to go back to Nepean, kind of just full circle and
Yes,
job's
done.
done. So, and then I recall the opportunity, what my dad said, how far can you go, which was his words,
That's
which
right, how far can you go?
rung
That's
in the back of my mind. Very lucky, thanks to you again, for that opportunity to get a book published here in the US.
No problem.
And then we did the book tour, right, which was very successful.
Really successful, yeah.
And then, to come back into this world, to have conversations with world-class athletes, and, this creation starts going again, and they're thinking, okay, so what is possible here? So I was lucky enough to do a bike ride recently here in the US, raising money for MS.
Yes.
It was a ride, so 80 miles for 2 days, back to back, 160. So I did that on my bike with my buddies David Knight and Tim. So we managed to cover the distance. So this piece around being...
So you did 160 miles over 2 days?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's it's back to switching off my old thinking. My old thinking would be, you have to have a coach. You have to do all these miles. You have
Yes.
And I was like, no, I don't. I just need to get on a bike, and I need to keep on doing one rotation at a time. And if I keep on doing that, it's likely I'll get from point A to point B. And that's the attitude that I've approached.
How long did it take you to get the balance back on a bike?
Yeah, it was pretty scary the first time after 25 years. And my balance at that stage was in my upper body. So you can imagine there's a lot of on the handlebars. But all is about relaxing and calming, and with anxiety. I just got controlled and relaxed, and I did one rotation at a time, and I managed to ride up and down the street, and that was enough for me. If I can do that, then I can do more than that. So
Right.
then the focus was, I really need to concentrate on the walking. So, but it opens up this piece around, for all of us, around potential. What can we do? So much more than we think.
So you're doing Ironman Western Australia in November. That's a half. That's a 70.3. And are you going to be trying to do the whole thing?
Well, I was going to keep that a bit of a surprise, but I guess now it's out. Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
So, so I think it's it's back to this piece around exploring, and
Right.
I've had 2 swims here in 2 days, which has been a very long time to be back in the water. Great to swim with Lou Friedland today.
Yes.
And it's this piece around, I can swim. So
You know
I don't-
that's not gonna be a problem.
I don't have to do all that.
1.2, yeah.
I know I can bike because I've just had that great experience. Can I walk that distance? I don't know.
That's a
but
long way, yeah.
I'm going to try, right? One step at a time. Thanks to Ryan, I've just got the latest in technology with the leg devices. I've been trained with the best in the world, so I want to explore that.
What is the ultimate goal for you? What do you want to do down the line? Now, I mean, you're thinking another Paralympics? Are you thinking,
No,
no.
definitely no Paralympics.
Okay.
My ultimate goal is to see whether it's possible for me
Yes.
to move away from the chair full time. So I still have my paralysis. That has not disappeared.
Exactly.
This is not a cure to
No.
spinal injuries. What it is, again, for me, is to manage paralysis through technology,
Yes.
innovation.
Yes.
Ryan's devices for leg bracing. I mean, it's state of the art, and it's very exciting. So I'm currently taking steps backward in order to take steps forward. So, for me, I'm not sure what it looks like, but I want to keep on seeing how far I can go. Everybody has a line. For
Sure.
example, Usain Bolt does not run 8 seconds. He does not do that. He
No.
runs 9 point something. So that is his line, and that's phenomenal. So all of us have a line, and all I'm trying to do myself is trying to find how
Find it.
close I can get to my line.
How far that line? And how has it changed your world? The fact that, I don't need the chair right now. I mean, how much time do you spend in the chair? How much time out of the chair?
Okay, so for longer distance, I still use the wheelchair.
Yes.
It's quite exhausting,
Yes.
the work. because there's so much mental focus in order to do everything that I can to take those steps. I'm very grateful that I'm having the opportunity to take those steps. Life is very different. There's no wheelchair in the house.
Really?
No wheelchair in the house at all. The wife's banned it from the house. So, you challenge yourself all the time, right? And with my son, I can now confidently pick him up and cuddle him. He's 6 now, so he's like, hey, Dad, I'm kind of,
I don't really
put me
need
down,
that. Yeah,
put me
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on. So, I think for us as a family, the quality of life, for me in particular, going from the chair to standing and wanting to do all the things that a father would do with a son.
Yes.
And I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that now outside of the wheelchair. So the quality of life is fantastic. I'm living in the moment. I'm loving my opportunities, and I'm excited to explore how far I can go.
What's always interesting to me is wheelchair athletes have such a different perspective on life because, you might be 6'5", but when you're in a chair, you're basically always looking at belt buckles, right? You're always looking up, and I bet that's pretty enjoyable to be able to stand and have an eye-to-eye conversation with somebody.
No, absolutely. It's nice after all these years because it's a very long time. I mean, I was in the chair full-time for 25 years.
Yeah.
And I've got very dear friends. Scott Hollenbeck's racing here, which is fantastic.
Yes.
I raced against Scott in the Sydney Olympics, 16 years ago. So I'm so excited for him that he's into the sport and he's loving it. So I guess for me, I'm just trying to play the best cards that I have been dealt. And this therapy is not with everybody, but for me, it's nice to look you in the eye. It's nice to, have a cuddle with Heidi and have one of those blueberry muffins and kind of do stuff that I wouldn't have been able to do previously, right? So it's about acknowledging that and being grateful. I am very grateful. I've come a long way.
I love it. Congrats on everything you're doing, man. I love everything you're doing. The book was a great read. Having you at the CAF building, we did our Q&A there. We've had a great response on that interview. You're the best.
Thank you for the opportunity to do a number of things. 1, to get me back into this part of the world. 2, to allow a book to get published. And 3, to continually support me, Bob. I'm very, very grateful. Always great to spend time with you, and I value our friendship.
Love it. John Maclean has been our guest. Poncho Man, take us out.
Upon a easy area, so quiet and serene, where family never used the word we. Togetherness was practiced all day and night. Kangaroo is a beautiful sight. Ooh, it's breakfast with Bob.